Today I'm going to be showing you how to make my senior prom dress. You can use it as a tutorial. You could use it as entertainment, whatever floats your boat. You follow my socials at CerinasBoutique, Instagram, and TikTok because I do post designs on there that don't make it to YouTube. And I do have a website for you to shop. It's CerinasBoutique.com. I do have clothes up there right now. Yeah, so let's get into the video. I'm really excited, so let's go. Is sewn together. The bodice pieces are pressed. These seams down. I did notch the inside as well, okay? And basted together these pieces because there's two layers. See, it's two layers, so it's stiffer and has more strength to it so it doesn't tear, you know? What I'm basically gonna do is sew it right sides together to one side here. So right sides together, and I did notch where this piece starts, where the tool starts, and that's where I'm gonna start sewing. You flip this, and so you'll have it the other way, and then you flip it over onto itself, right? And you start pinning, okay? And then you're gonna start turning it over like this. And then what's gonna happen is while you're sewing it, you're gonna start easing that curve back. Okay, let's see how will I do this. You can't pin this part when you're sewing the tool to this. You have to ease it with your hands. So very hard. Try to keep the tool from bunching on itself. But I did it. Okay, so in order to attach the other side, what we're gonna do is notch this side that we already attached. We're gonna notch this to get it all flat and smooth. But I would stop notching about here because you're gonna end up sewing kind of like that, and you don't want to have cuts here, but I think I'll be fine. I'll try to finesse it, but yeah, just stop there. You're gonna pretend like you're putting this right sides together because you are, but like that, right? Then you're gonna take it and this is like at your sewing machine, you're gonna flip it, and then on your sewing machine you'll start sewing around here as, it's so confusing to explain, but as you're flipping that tool underneath, and then you're gonna start sewing it basically, and that's what's gonna happen. And then you'll pull that seam over itself and sew kind of like that. So I hope that made sense. Sewn it. I do want to mention that how I like sewed it basically. So how I said you sew straight, right, until you get to this part where the tool starts, right? And then when you're presser foot, you're gonna just literally do what I just did. You pull it this way, and then you sew that point, and you sew on top of the seam allowance here. It's gonna feel weird, but that's what happens. This is what it looks like. It looks really beautiful. I love how flat this is. I'm out of breath. I'm tired. I had to work with this fabric to get it into here, but yeah, so I notched in here. It helps with that, but like working in that curve, yeah, it's gonna be like going to the gym to sew that, because that curve is so tight and it's so hard, but I did it. Yay! I went ahead and basted this in, basted that in on this side, and then we can start attaching the lining. It's gonna get really weird. So you have this side on this side. You can see how it's right sides together, right? Okay, so keep that in mind. Take this up, and then we're going to move that over there. And we're gonna flip this on this side, right? Get this piece that you just had on the other side that I showed you, and you're gonna it's hard to do with one hand. Okay, you're gonna take it and you're gonna line it up with this section on this side, right here. You pin it right here. Okay. Then once you do that, you're gonna flip it. This is taking to your sewing machine. Okay. On your sewing machine, you flip it. Boom. Cool. So you flipped it, and then. So you have this piece, you know, it's pinned here, and when you flip it, it's actually this side, right? So this piece, flip it, it gets flipped over. And you just start sewing the top layer, all the way how I'm doing right now with my fingers. The top layer you sew on this seam, and you just keep pushing back the bottom layer like that, and you're gonna keep sewing them together. I think that made sense. Okay, so after I did the whole flippy-dip-de-doop-de-doo on my sewing machine, this is what it looks like. I'm very proud. It was kind of hard, I'm not even gonna lie, but definitely do not, I repeat, do not try to pin this curve when you're sewing it on the sewing machine from the last clip. Don't pin the whole thing, just pin this like straight right here. Do not pin the whole thing or you will have issues. You have to do it by your hands while you're at the sewing machine. Now to sew the other side of the lining, you basically flip it this way. So I have it like this, and then I flip it to where you can see the lining on this side, right? So you have the right side of the panel underneath facing towards you, right? So then you're gonna take this piece that you didn't use, and you're gonna put it on its right side, going the correct way, and basically repeat. So you just pin it here, and you start sewing it and pushing this part out of the way and sewing it like that. The lining is looking like after I sewed it in. Put notches in here. I'm gonna put more notches everywhere, honestly. Lined, and in case, all you gotta do is iron this, and then we're gonna you could top stitch it, but I think I'm gonna try to understitch it. I understitched it here and here. And then there is a little piece here, don't mind that, that was on accident. I wasn't seeing where I was sewing. I thought I was up here, but girl, I was down here. What? Do the neckband. The shell, or the outer piece, has fusible interfacing on it. And then I folded these sides in by 1/2 inch, and then I basted it together. And I did that to the lining as well, so it can have a clean edge when we're finished with this. And I went ahead and sewed the top of the band together, cut the seams underneath, and I notched it, and then I top stitched it all the way around. Next step is to take this part, so just the shell, and sew it to this part. Yeah, mine was off by 2/8 in the end. So what I did is I split it. I put 1/8 back from my mark over here, and then 1/8 back from my mark over here. And now it's even because it cancels itself out, right? When you sew this, go ahead and sew the tulle on top of the band. It's gonna be easier for you to ease it into that band. Now what I'm gonna do is fold in the rest of these like non-sewn parts, fold them up by 5/8, and you're gonna iron every seam, iron it all, and then you're gonna notch this one and iron it up. And then you're gonna take the lining and fold it in on top of that, and then top stitch it all the way around. There we go. Okay, so I put the hook and eye, so I just hand sewed that. You can see the stitches in there. I mean, it's not hook and eye, it's hook and bar, sorry. And then this side is hand sewed as well. I went ahead and put this piece on the right side. This band, I essentially did everything I did to the neckband. They look identical. The waistband is 2 inches thick, and the neckband is 1 inch thick. Pin the tulle to this right sides together, literally the same way I did the neckband. Flip it out, and then take that lining, and we're gonna roll it up. This band, it consists of 12 layers of tulle. There's a mix of browns, yellow golds, and then there's 2 glitter layers on the very top. And then I sewed a hook and bar, just like the neckband, right there. It's a detachable little skirt moment, little cape. Attach the skirt, and I put the zipper in, an invisible zipper. There is a rolled hem on the bottom that I just did with my serger. These are the appliques I'm going to be applying to the bodice. So pretty. I got it for $100 for both pieces. Bought it from Etsy. Amazing. Love it. So now, I almost didn't buy it because I was like, it's $100, but then I was like, it's senior prom, I'm only gonna get it one. I cut this off, and be sure not to cut the stitches, because if you cut the stitches, it all could unravel. Okay, so I hand sewed this applique on there. Basically, it doesn't matter how you sew it, you just go in and out, like a normal straight stitch. And I sewed this on without catching the lining underneath. So this is what the appliques look like. So you see this jewelry here on the waistband, and you also see it over here on the neckband. These beautiful puff sleeves. Basically, it just consisted of a really long rectangle. The rectangle was like 22 inches long and then like 33 or something inches wide. And basically with the 33 inches wide part, I took a basting stitch here and gathered that in myself by hand to approximately the amount that my wrist was, the circumference of my wrist. And so I just gathered that down, and then I took my 1/2 inch elastic and stretched and sewed that on there, and then I would just stretch out that piece to pop those basting stitches. And I did that here 3 inches, and then up here is like 1 inch. So sleeves do consist of 4 layers of tulle. Thank you guys for watching me make my senior prom dress. I hope it helped you, with your design, or just simply entertain you. I hope I gave you something.
Okay. Yeah, make sure you follow me on my socials at CerinasBoutique, Instagram and TikTok. CerinasBoutique.com for my clothes and my accessories when I do come out with collections. I want to do more on there in the future. I thank you for making it to this end of the video, okay? I will see you in the next one.